Has anybody ever heard of the term mansplaining before? Mansplaining is when a man explains something to a woman. That is straight up sexism, and they can't see it. It's like the male equivalent of being told, shut up and go make me a sandwich. We're doing a 2-for-1 commentary. First, we're going to talk about mansplaining and 5 ways to deal with a mansplainer. And then we're going to talk about what is mansplaining.
Now, if you happen to be one of those few people that's like, female.
So, roughly half the human population.
You've probably dealt with mansplaining before, when guys take the time to help you to understand that the world is round, or that the sky is blue, or that you can't breathe underwater, because they're just helpful.
Guess what? Men have to deal with that too. Everyone has to deal with that. People have explained things to me that I already knew. Guess what? I moved on with my life.
I thought it'd be cool to do a video talking about mansplaining and trying to figure out different ways that we can deal with mansplaining, because I know it's not just me.
Correct. It's not just you. It's everyone.
Here is the best that I could come up with, and don't forget to like and share this video and leave your comments on how you deal with mansplainers, because the more you know. But before I mansplain all of this to you,
he said it!
Could you please subscribe to this channel? Thanks.
I don't like it when people tell me to like and subscribe at the end of their video. But we're not even at the end of your video, and you're already saying it. I do like all your sexy dislikes, though.
So, probably the easiest way to deal with mansplaining is to get really pissed off about it. It's not necessarily the most productive way.
Unless you want to make yourself look crazy and downright delusional, then it is the most productive way.
There's a slightly better way to deal with it. You can just ignore it, which is probably what I end up doing most of the time, because let's all be honest, if you're being mansplained to by your boss, there's really not a whole lot you can do in the moment to deal with it. So you just kind of have to grit your teeth and bear it, which is definitely not my favorite option. You can point it out. I've definitely done that, and I have to say that one's kind of one of the most satisfying ones. Definitely enjoy telling guys that they're mansplaining it to me, because usually they don't really have a comeback because they realize they're doing it.
They don't have a comeback because what you said was so unbelievably stupid that their brain is having trouble processing the stupidity. If I was arguing with someone, and I randomly said,
how many cups of sugar does it take to get to the moon?
Then they'll pause and stare at me. Not because I quote-unquote owned them, but because what I said was so stupid that they're having trouble processing it.
Sometimes when I know I'm not going to see anybody again, I just play the part and pretend to be the dumbest person I could possibly have ever hoped to be in my life.
Well, you're doing a pretty good job of it. I think you're an idiot.
Sometimes you gotta laugh at them in their face while they're talking to you.
I would laugh at you right now, but unfortunately I don't have my laugh chip installed yet.
Sometimes I'll turn it around on them and ask them really, really obvious questions so that they realize they're doing it. They kind of hate me because obviously anytime a woman does anything bad, she's a bitch. But hey, it's also kind of satisfying.
And if a man does anything bad, he's a dick.
So what you're telling me is if I don't water my plants, they'll die? Really super duper obvious questions, because it throws them off guard, and it's kind of funny to watch them try to like recalibrate.
Yes, it does throw them off guard, because what you say is so unbelievably stupid.
Okay, so those are my 5. I don't know what you think. What did I leave out? What do you think was wrong? Please share your comments in the comments. Like this video, share it. Let's start a conversation. You can always follow me on Twitter, SadaChickaD, and I'll see you later.
My God, you're still going with the like and subscribe thing.
Bye.
So that's the end of her video. Now let's look at the other one. I can't wait for this man to mansplain to us what mansplaining is.
I have a confession to make. I've been recently diagnosed with a critical yet common condition among men known as mansplaining. So, what is mansplaining? Well, it's a condition that affects many men who believe that it is our natural born right to talk over, interrupt, and especially explain things to women.
Women do it to men too. Men do it to other men. Women do it to other women. So why is it an issue when men explain things to women? Don't worry, you can tell me. I'm not a woman.
On topics that affect women, are predominantly about women, and that they're probably experts on in the first place. And that's condescending.
So what you're saying is, you can't talk about certain subjects because of your gender. There's a word for that. It's called sexism.
Matt Damon explained diversity and how it works to the only black woman of color filmmaker in a room full of white filmmakers. And that's condescending. See, so Matt Damon wasn't only mansplaining. In this case, he was also white-splaining, which is very similar to mansplaining in that you take the gender in one and replace it for the race in the other. White-splaining is when a white person tries to interrupt and lecture a person of color on a topic that specifically affects people of color.
So what you're saying is, you can't talk about certain subjects just because of your race. There's a word for that. It's called racism.
But anyhow, returning to mansplaining, men with this condition feel that our opinions matter so much that they have to be heard, even if it's on subjects that we don't have a damn clue what we're talking about.
I don't think you have a clue what you're talking about.
Odds are, if you were born a guy, you probably have traces of this condition in your system, and that's a result of social conditioning. Social conditioning is a process of training people in society to respond in a manner that is generally approved by the society at large. Think about a toddler that is crying and eventually gets what he or she wants. If this behavior is always rewarded, well, now the toddler knows and is conditioned to cry whenever he or she wants something. Those same rules apply to society at large. We as humans are rewarded or punished depending on our behavior. So basically, men are the toddlers in this situation.
Feminists are the ones complaining about trivial stuff. Whining, complaining, and throwing tantrums. But people like you are saying, guys, we're the problems. We should let them keep doing it. The reason why feminists exist is because of people like you. Because you let them have their temper tantrums. And if anyone tries to stop them, you say, stop mansplaining.
And unfortunately, based on historical context, men are more often rewarded in society and encouraged to continue our behavior of taking up space, interrupting, and explaining things to women.
Citation needed. I have plenty of evidence of feminists interrupting and talking over people. Where's your evidence to support your side?
Writer Soraya Chimali has a simple explanation for this. She said, and I quote, "This is good old-fashioned sexism expressed in genderized socialization and a default cultural preference for institutionalized male domination of public life."
Oh look, a woman said so. Therefore it's true. Would it kill you to get some actual proof and evidence?
Which is why guys feel entitled to take over a conversation and start talking about a subject that we have no damn clue what we're talking about. Or on topics that we as men could never even experience.
By your definition, you have been mansplaining this entire time.
So now I know what you must be thinking. Okay, but is there a cure to this condition? The good news is, if you're still watching this video, you now know what mansplaining is. And once you know something, you can't unknow it. It's just the way the brain works.
Completely untrue, but I get what you're trying to say.
Basically, as guys, we have to dig deep and really think to ourselves, do we know what we're talking about? Because if we don't, shut up. Simple as that.
Yeah, if you have a different opinion, shut up.
I've been prescribed a medication known as Check Yourself. I take my daily dose and I suggest you do the same. Just to let you know, side effects may include salty feelings towards women, but you'll get over it. You'll live.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. May God have mercy on your soul.
So that's the end of the video. The reason why I showed two is because they had two definitions. One was, if a man explains something obvious to a woman, it's mansplaining. And the other one was, if a man tries to talk about a subject involving women, it's mansplaining. Mansplaining is a word that feminists use because they're tired of people constantly debunking their arguments. But who knows? Maybe I should stop robot-splaining.